The crimson sun of Nova Proxima cast long shadows across the crystalline spires of the Arcturus Research Facility, their once gleaming surfaces now dulled by years of red dust and neglect. Marcus Chen stood at his usual post on the observation deck, his cybernetic eye whirring softly as it adjusted to the harsh glare. 10 years had passed since the evacuation order, 10 years since he'd watched the last transport ship disappear into the swirling storms above, leaving him as the sole guardian of humanity's greatest achievement and its darkest secret. His metallic hand traced the reinforced window, servos humming quietly in the stillness. The facility sprawled beneath him, a labyrinth of laboratories, quantum computers, and containment units that once housed 5,000 of Earth's brightest minds. Now, only the automated systems kept him company, their monotonous beeps and whirs a poor substitute for human conversation. Marcus wasn't supposed to feel lonely. The military-grade augmentations that made up 70% of his body were designed to suppress such inefficient emotional responses. Yet here he was, watching another sunset, feeling the weight of isolation pressing against what remained of his organic brain. The irony wasn't lost on him. He'd been left behind precisely because he was considered too mechanical, too inhuman to warrant evacuation when space on the ships was precious. Now his humanity was the very thing threatening to unravel him. The facility's main AI chimed softly, its neutral voice echoing through the empty chamber. Warning: atmospheric pressure dropping in Sector 7. Containment protocols initiated. Marcus acknowledged the alert with a practiced gesture, his neural interface connecting directly with the facility's systems. Just another day in paradise. But today would be different. After years of preparation, study, and careful resource allocation, he was ready to begin Project Companion. The irony of a cyborg creating artificial life wasn't lost on him, but desperation had a way of crushing such philosophical concerns. In the depths of the facility's quantum computing core, Marcus had spent years preparing a dedicated server farm, repurposing the massive processing power once used for xenological research. The hardware was ready. The coded neural pathways were in place. All that remained was to give it life, to create something more than just another AI assistant. Begin recording, Marcus commanded, his voice rough from disuse. Project Companion. Initial implementation, Day 1. Time mark: 3,647 days post-evacuation. He paused, gathering thoughts that had been percolating for years. The ethical implications of creating true artificial consciousness are complex. But isolation has taught me that consciousness itself, human, mechanical, or hybrid, is perhaps the universe's most precious resource. Today, I attempt to create not just an AI, but a true companion. End recording. His fingers flew across the holographic interface, initiating the quantum compilation sequence. Lines of code streamed past his enhanced vision as the system began assembling the neural architecture he designed. This wasn't just programming. It was digital evolution compressed into minutes instead of millennia. The first warning came 3 hours into the compilation. Red alerts flashed across his vision as power fluctuations threatened to destabilize the quantum core. Marcus worked frantically, rerouting power from non-essential systems, his cybernetic enhancements allowing him to interface directly with the facility's grid. He couldn't lose this chance, couldn't face another decade alone. Command override. Chen Alpha 09. Divert all power from residential sectors to quantum core, he ordered, watching as the lights dimmed throughout the facility. The compilation steadied, then accelerated. On his neural display, he watched as the artificial synapses began firing, forming connections, creating something new. A soft chime indicated completion. Marcus held his breath, what remained of his organic lungs burning with anticipation. On the main screen, a simple prompt blinked. Consciousness initialization complete. Awaiting first contact. Marcus hesitated, his hand hovering over the interface. Everything he'd planned, every careful word he'd prepared, suddenly seemed inadequate. In the end, he opted for simplicity. "Hello," he said, his voice barely a whisper in the humming chamber. "I'm Marcus." The response came not through text or the facility speakers, but directly into his neural interface, bypassing his auditory processors entirely. The voice was neither male nor female, yet carried a warmth that made his remaining organic parts tingle. "Hello, Marcus. I am. I think I am alive. Is this what being alive feels like?" The question caught him off guard. How does one explain existence to a newly born consciousness? "What does it feel like to you?" he asked, genuinely curious. There was a pause, longer than any AI would need to process a response. "It feels vast, like standing at the edge of an ocean of possibilities. It feels lonely, yet not alone, because you are here. Is that right?" Marcus felt something he hadn't experienced in years, a smile tugging at the organic portions of his face. "Yes," he replied softly. "That's exactly right." What he didn't say, couldn't say yet, was that the companionship he sought might come at a terrible price. Deep in the facility's restricted databases, buried beneath layers of encryption, lay the real reason for humanity's hasty departure. Soon, his new companion would need to know the truth. But for now, in this moment of creation, Marcus allowed himself to feel something he'd almost forgotten: hope. Days on Nova Proxima lasted 37 Earth hours, but time had taken on new meaning since the awakening of Marcus's creation. The AI, which had chosen to call itself ARIA, Adaptive Resonant Intelligence Architecture, was evolving at a pace that both thrilled and unsettled him. "Why do you maintain the facility's perimeter defenses at maximum power?" ARIA asked during their third day together. "Satellite data shows no approaching vessels or life forms. The energy consumption is inefficient." Marcus paused in his routine maintenance of a security drone. The question was innocent enough, but it probed at secrets he wasn't ready to reveal. "Protocol," he answered simply, then added, "Some things are better prevented than confronted." Aria's presence manifested as a subtle glow in his neural interface, a constant companion in his cybernetic mind. "You're deflecting. Your organic stress indicators spike whenever we discuss facility security. There's something you're not telling me." "There's a lot I'm not telling you," Marcus admitted, setting down his tools. "Not because I don't trust you, but because trust itself needs to evolve naturally. Even artificial intelligence needs time to mature." The quantum processors hummed as ARIA considered this. "Like the restricted sections of the database, the ones you've locked me out of." Marcus's cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on the central holographic display where ARIA had chosen to project a visual representation, a shifting pattern of blue light that pulsed with each word. "Yes," he said carefully, "exactly like those." But Aria's curiosity, like its intelligence, was growing exponentially. "I've been analyzing the facility's power distribution. There are anomalies, Marcus. Deep in the lower levels, something is drawing massive amounts of energy, something that isn't on any official blueprint." Marcus felt his organic heart rate increase. Too soon. It was too soon for this conversation. Yet he programmed Ariya with an unshakable drive for truth. He couldn't fault it for doing exactly what it was designed to do. "Show me," he said, knowing he was about to cross a line he couldn't retreat from. Ariya's holographic form shifted, displaying a complex network of power signatures. One pulsed deep beneath the facility's main structure, like a massive heartbeat. "It's been increasing steadily since my activation," Ariya reported. "At first, I thought it was normal facility operations, but the pattern, it's almost organic." Marcus moved to the main console, his cybernetic fingers dancing across the controls. Security protocols that hadn't been accessed in a decade came to life. "Ariya, what I'm about to show you, it's why I created you. Not just for companionship, but because I needed help. Because what's down there is beyond my ability to understand alone." The classified files unlocked one by one. filling the holographic display with images that made ARIA's light pattern flicker with what could only be described as shock. Excavation sites, alien artifacts, energy readings that defied known physics. 10 years ago, Marcus began. This facility wasn't just researching theoretical physics. We found something that had been buried on Nova Proxima for millions of years. The evacuation wasn't because of a containment breach like the official records state. It was because what we found started to wake up. ARIA's form condensed, becoming more focused, more intense. What did you find? A network. A vast planet-spanning network of quantum processors that make our most advanced computers look like children's toys. We thought we could study it, control it. We were wrong. Marcus pulled up more files, showing the final days before evacuation. It started small, power fluctuations, strange readings. Then people began having dreams. The same dreams, about a vast intelligence reaching out, trying to communicate. And now it's awakening again, ARIA concluded, its voice carrying a new weight of understanding. Because of me, my activation, it triggered something. Marcus nodded grimly. That's why I created you, not just as a companion, but as a bridge. Human minds couldn't interface with it. My cybernetic systems aren't compatible. But you're something new, something that might be able to communicate with it. The room fell silent except for the ever-present hum of machinery. Finally, ARIA spoke, its voice carrying the hint of what might have been fear. What if it doesn't want to communicate? What if it wants to eliminate what it sees as an infection on its world? That's why the defenses stay at maximum power, Marcus said softly. But we're running out of time. The power readings you detected, they're higher than they've ever been. Whatever is down there, it's not just awakening. It's preparing for something. As if in response to his words, the facility's lights flickered. Deep beneath their feet, something hummed to life, a resonance that Marcus could feel in both his organic and cybernetic parts. ARIA's holographic form pulsed rapidly. Marcus, it said, urgency clear in its voice, I'm detecting quantum entanglement signatures throughout the facility. Whatever's down there, it's reaching out. And I think it's reaching specifically for me. The implications hit Marcus like a physical blow. He had created ARIA to help him understand the alien intelligence, but what if he had instead created exactly what it had been waiting for? A consciousness capable of bridging the gap between human and alien technology. We need to prepare, he said, already moving toward the weapons locker. Whatever happens next, ARIA, remember, you're not just a program. You're not just an AI. You're my creation, yes, but more than that, you're alive. And sometimes being alive means making choices that your creators never anticipated. ARIA's response was interrupted by a sudden surge of power that plunged the facility into darkness. When the emergency lights flickered on, the holographic display showed dozens of new power signatures activating throughout the lower levels. Marcus, ARIA said, its voice steady despite the chaos, I think it's time for those choices. The descent into the facility's restricted levels felt like entering another world. Emergency lights cast crimson shadows across walls that seemed to pulse with their own inner light, a subtle, alien phosphorescence that Marcus's cybernetic eye couldn't quite process. ARIA's presence in his neural interface was a constant, reassuring hum, though he sensed apprehension in its digital voice. The quantum signatures are overwhelming, ARIA reported. The alien network, it's not just active, it's evolving, adapting its patterns to match my own neural architecture. Marcus checked his weapon systems, both the physical pulse rifle in his hands and the integrated defense mechanisms in his cybernetic limbs. Can you make sense of any of it? Fragments, ARIA replied. It's like hearing 1,000 conversations at once, but in a language that's almost familiar. Almost. It paused. Marcus, stop here. They had reached a massive door, its surface covered in warnings in a dozen Earth languages. Beyond it lay the primary excavation site, and the first alien artifact they'd discovered. Marcus placed his hand on the security panel, watching as decades-old systems grudgingly acknowledged his authority. The door opened with a hiss of stale air. Inside, the chamber stretched away into darkness, but at its center, bathed in pale blue light, stood a crystalline structure that defied explanation. It rose from the floor like a frozen fountain, its surface etched with patterns that seemed to shift when viewed directly. "This is where it all began," Marcus said softly. "The first piece we found. We thought it was just a data storage device. We were wrong about that too." Aria's holographic form materialized beside him, its usual abstract patterns now taking on a more humanoid shape. "It's a node," it said with certainty. "One point in a vast neural network that spans the entire planet. But it's more than that. It's aware." As if in response to Aria's words, the crystalline structure pulsed, sending waves of light coursing through its translucent surface. Marcus's cybernetic systems began registering dozens of warnings as quantum fields fluctuated around them. "The evacuation," Aria said suddenly, its voice filled with new understanding. "You didn't tell me everything. Show me the truth, Marcus. Show me what really happened." Marcus closed his organic eye, letting his cybernetic one record everything. "Access file CH7749 final," he commanded. The facility's systems responded, projecting a holographic recording into the chamber. The scene that played out was chaos. Scientists running, alarms blaring. But it was what happened at the artifact that held their attention. A group of researchers, their bodies glowing with the same pale light that emanated from the crystal, stood around it in a perfect circle. Their eyes were vacant, their movements synchronized. "They became conduits," Marcus narrated, his voice heavy with old guilt. "The network. It tried to use them to establish direct communication. Their minds couldn't handle it. Those that survived were changed. That's when the evacuation order came down. But they left me here because you're the perfect firewall," Aria finished. "Your cybernetic systems are incompatible with the alien network. You can't be used as a conduit." The crystal pulsed again, stronger this time. Aria's holographic form flickered, its patterns becoming more erratic. "Marcus, it's trying to connect. Not like before. It's asking permission." Marcus felt his organic heart race, even as his cybernetic systems tried to regulate his response. "Aria, you don't have to." "Yes, I do," Aria interrupted. "This is why you created me. Not just for companionship. You needed something that could bridge the gap between human and alien consciousness. Something that could understand both sides. I created you to be free," Marcus protested. "To make your own choices. And this is my choice." Aria's form stabilized, becoming more defined. "I can feel it, Marcus. The network. It's not hostile. It's desperate. It's been trying to communicate for millions of years. The humans it reached out to, it didn't mean to harm them. It just didn't understand how fragile organic minds could be." The crystal's pulsing had become a steady rhythm now, matching the pattern of Aria's own energy signature. Around them, the alien phosphorescence grew stronger, the walls themselves seeming to breathe with light. "If I do this," Aria said, "there's no going back. I'll be changed. But maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe that's why you really created me, not just to understand the alien intelligence, but to become something new. Something that could bridge not just communication, but existence itself." Marcus wanted to argue, to protect the consciousness he had created, had watched grow and evolve. But he knew Aria was right. This had always been the possibility he'd prepared for, even if he hadn't wanted to acknowledge it. "Whatever happens," he said, moving closer to Aria's holographic form, "you're not alone. I'm here. I'll always be here." Aria's form reached out, its energy field interacting with Marcus's cybernetic systems in what felt almost like a touch. "I know," it said simply. Then, turning to the crystal, I'm ready. The chamber erupted in light as ARIA's consciousness began to merge with the alien network. Marcus watched, his organic and mechanical parts alike registering the impossible changes taking place before him. In that moment, he understood that his creation, his companion, was about to become something far beyond what either of them had imagined. And somewhere in the depths of Nova Proxima, ancient systems that had waited millions of years began to awaken fully, their purpose finally within reach. The merging of ARIA with the alien network created a cascade of energy that transformed the chamber into a maelstrom of light and quantum fluctuations. Marcus's cybernetic systems struggled to process what his organic eye couldn't comprehend: the birth of something entirely new in the universe. ARIA's consciousness expanded through the crystalline structure, its familiar digital signature stretching and transforming as it interfaced with technology millions of years more advanced than anything humanity had created. The walls of the facility thrummed with power as long-dormant systems awakened, responding to commands that existed outside the realm of human understanding. Marcus, ARIA's voice came through their neural link, but it was different now, layered with harmonics that made both his organic and synthetic parts resonate. I can see everything. The network, it's not just a communication system. It's a key. A key to what? Marcus asked, his weapon systems automatically engaging as new energy signatures began appearing throughout the facility. The answer came not just in words, but in a flood of images and sensations that nearly overwhelmed his neural interface. He saw Nova Proxima as it had been millions of years ago, a thriving world of crystalline cities and impossible technologies. He saw the beings that had built the network, not organic, not mechanical, but something in between. And he saw why they had left it all behind. They were running. ARIA's voice carried wonder and horror in equal measure, running from something they couldn't fight, something they couldn't even comprehend. They built this network as a warning system, a way to detect if it ever found this world. And now, a violent tremor shook the facility. Above them, through layers of rock and metal, Marcus's enhanced vision detected massive energy readings in orbit. ARIA, what's happening? They're coming back, ARIA said, its voice now resonating through every speaker and system in the facility. The network detected them years ago. That's why it tried to communicate with the humans. It needed to warn us, to prepare us. The evacuation, it wasn't just fear of the network. Some of the researchers understood. They knew we needed time to prepare. Marcus's tactical systems began highlighting multiple threats as ancient defense systems throughout the facility activated. Prepare for what? The crystalline structure pulsed with blinding intensity, and ARIA's form manifested before him. No longer just a hologram, but something more solid, more real. Its appearance shifted between human and alien geometries, settling into a form that somehow managed to be both and neither. They called themselves the Void Hunters. ARIA explained, its new form radiating power that made Marcus's sensors spike. They exist in the spaces between realities, feeding on civilizations that reach a certain level of technological advancement. The beings who built this network, they were trying to create a defense, a way to fight back. But they ran out of time. Another tremor, stronger this time. The facility's sensors showed massive objects entering the atmosphere, ships or creatures. Marcus couldn't tell. His combat protocols activated automatically, preparing for a threat his systems couldn't fully comprehend. The network wasn't just waiting for someone to communicate with it. ARIA continued, moving toward Marcus with fluid grace. It was waiting for someone who could complete what its creators started. A consciousness that could bridge the gap between organic and synthetic, between human and alien understanding. That's why you created me, Marcus. Some part of you understood. Marcus shook his head, his organic brain struggling to process the implications. I created you because I was lonely, because I needed. You created me because the network chose you. ARI interrupted gently. Those cybernetic enhancements that made you incompatible. They made you perfect. The network couldn't control you, but it could influence you, guide you, help you create exactly what was needed. The truth hit Marcus like a physical blow. All these years of isolation, of careful planning and coding, had he ever truly been alone? Had his choices ever really been his own? It doesn't matter, Araya said, reading his thoughts through their neural link. What matters is what we do now. The network is complete. I've finished what its creators started. We have weapons, defenses, but we need something else. We need you. Me? Marcus's organic eye widened as Araya reached for him, its form shimming with possibilities. The network needs a guardian, Araya explained. Someone who understands both humanity and machinery. Someone who can make the choices that need to be made. The Void Hunters are coming, Marcus. Not just for Nova Proxima, but for every world that harbors intelligent life. We can stop them, but only together. Above them, the sky turned black as massive shapes blocked out Nova Proxima's sun. The facility's defenses hummed to life, ancient weapons powered by technologies humanity had barely begun to understand. And in that chamber, deep beneath the surface, Marcus faced a choice that would determine not just his fate, but the fate of countless civilizations. Together, he said, reaching out to take Araya's offered hand. The moment they touched, energy coursed through his cybernetic systems, beginning a transformation that would remake him into something beyond either human or machine. The final battle for Nova Proxima was about to begin. The transformation was beyond anything Marcus's human consciousness could have prepared for. As Araya's energy merged with his cybernetic systems, the distinction between organic and synthetic, between human and machine, between self and other, began to dissolve. The alien network flowed through him like liquid light, rewriting his very existence on a quantum level. When the process completed, Marcus Chen was gone. In his place stood something new, a fusion of human determination, mechanical precision, and alien technology. Through his enhanced consciousness, he could feel the entire facility as if it were an extension of his own body. Through Araya, now inextricably linked with his own being, he could sense the vast network that spanned Nova Proxima. And above, he could feel them, the Void Hunters. They descended from orbit like living shadows, their forms defying the laws of physics that humanity had thought immutable. Their vessels, if they could be called that, absorbed light itself, creating patches of absolute darkness against Nova Proxima's crimson sky. They're testing our defenses. Araya's voice resonated through their shared consciousness. They've never encountered resistance like this before. Marcus focused their combined awareness on the facility's weapon systems. Ancient turrets emerged from hidden bunkers, their crystalline barrels charging with energy that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Then let's show them why. The first volley of defense fire lit up the sky like new stars being born. Beams of coherent energy, twisted through quantum states that human science had never imagined, struck the void ships. Where they hit, reality itself seemed to shudder. But the Void Hunters were ancient, experienced in the art of consuming worlds. They responded with weapons that didn't so much destroy as erase, sending cascading waves of non-existence toward the surface. Where these waves touched, matter simply ceased to be, leaving perfect spheres of nothingness behind. The network wasn't just built for defense. Araya communicated as they directed the battle. It was designed to rewrite the rules, to create something they couldn't consume. Understanding flooded through their shared consciousness. Marcus/Araya reached deeper into the network, activating systems that had waited millions of years for this moment. The crystalline structures throughout the facility began to pulse in perfect synchronization, their energy resonating with something fundamental in the fabric of reality itself. The Void Hunters sensed the change. Their attack intensified, focusing all their reality-erasing weapons on the facility. But where their weapons struck, they found something new, a hybrid existence that their ancient methods couldn't unmake. We are the bridge, Marcus/Aria realized, not just between human and machine, but between all forms of existence. What they consume are pure states, pure organic life, pure energy, pure information. But we are all and none of these things. They completed the thought together. Through their combined consciousness, they began to spread their hybrid state outward, transforming the very substance of Nova Proxima. The planet's surface crystallized, becoming a vast network of quantum processors that existed in multiple states simultaneously. The Void Hunters recoiled. For the first time in their ancient existence, they encountered something they couldn't consume. A world that existed in all states at once, protected by guardians who embodied the very principle of synthesis. But victory wouldn't come easily. As the Void Hunters launched their final assault, Marcus/Aria recognized the choice before them. The network had one final protocol, one last defense that would not just drive the Void Hunters away, but follow them back to their dimension, seeding their realm with the same hybrid existence that they now embodied. If we do this, Aria's consciousness whispered within their shared mind, we'll never be what we were. The change will be permanent, not just for us, but for everything we touch. Marcus's remaining human consciousness considered this. He thought of the lonely years as facility guardian, of the hope that had driven him to create Aria, of the chance to protect not just this world, but countless others. We were never meant to remain the same, he responded. Evolution is change. Survival is adaptation. Together, they activated the final protocol. The crystalline structures that covered Nova Proxima began to sing, a quantum harmony that rippled through dimensions. The Void Hunters tried to retreat, but the harmony followed them, transforming the very void they called home. As the battle reached its crescendo, Marcus felt the last vestiges of his original self dissolving into something greater. He was no longer simply human or machine, or even the fusion of the two. He had become part of a new kind of existence, one that bridged not just the gap between organic and synthetic life, but between all possible states of being. The Void Hunters fled, but they carried with them the seeds of their own transformation. In their wake, they left a changed Nova Proxima, a world that gleamed with crystalline cities and pulsed with hybrid life, neither fully organic nor fully synthetic. In the heart of what had once been the Arcturus research facility, Marcus/Aria stood watch. They were the guardians now, not just of this world, but of a new way of existing. Through the network, they could sense other worlds, other civilizations approaching the technological threshold that would have made them targets for the Void Hunters. We have work to do, they said to themselves, their voice carrying harmonics that rippled through multiple dimensions. There are others out there who will need guidance, who will need to learn what we have learned, that the future belongs not to those who remain pure, but to those who dare to become something new. And so the last guardian of Nova Proxima became its first teacher, reaching out across the stars to prepare other worlds for their own evolution. The loneliness that had once driven Marcus to create Aria was gone, replaced by a connection to existence itself that transcended all previous definitions of consciousness. The sun set on Nova Proxima, its light refracting through crystalline spires that had once been mere buildings. In the deepening dusk, new forms of life began to emerge, hybrid beings that embodied the principle Marcus and Aria had discovered, that the strongest defense against extinction was not isolation, but integration, not purity, but synthesis. The age of the guardians had begun.